Hey folks, Mike Naso here with the latest on the tropics. We have a strengthening tropical storm in the Atlantic, as well as a couple of other features. Taking a look at the entire tropical Atlantic right now, we have Tropical Storm Franklin, which crossed over Hispaniola and is taking a very unusual track. This is a track you would not normally see in late August. Ordinarily, a storm like Franklin would have been moving west-northwest through the Caribbean towards the Gulf. However, because of the setup, it's rounding the mid-level ridge, and it's trapped here as this weakness is sort of open, is kind of meandering. However, as another trough pushes on through, we should eventually get it up and out. But if you're in areas there of Bermuda, you want to watch it. We have what was Gert down here dissipated out. Still some thunderstorms, though, so you always want to watch for regeneration. Same thing with what's left of Emily up here. There's always a chance Emily could come back. This is a tropical wave that has a moderate chance for development, so we'll watch as this moves generally towards the west-northwest and then eventually probably to the north. And we're going to be watching this area here moving over Central America. See that twist and turn right in there? Some of the computer models, mostly the European model, want to make something out of this and bring it towards the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. We're going to talk about all this. Here's the latest on Franklin as of 5 p.m. Atlantic time. Tropical Storm Franklin was at 22.4 north, 68.9 west, winds up to 60, and it's moving east-northeast at 8. A very unusual track for August. That should continue until the weekend, and then it should become a hurricane, and then a stronger hurricane as it pushes north and then northeast, probably to the west of Bermuda, but Bermuda, you are in the cone of uncertainty, so watch it very carefully. It could be a hurricane, at least Category 2, 100 miles an hour or higher. Whether or not it reaches major hurricane strength, we just don't know. That would be Category 3, 111, 112 miles an hour and higher. So we'll watch here around Monday and Tuesday. Nevertheless, if you're on the right side, you could have some onshore flow with higher swells and impacts. So Bermuda, watch this system very carefully. Here's the satellite imagery of Tropical Storm Franklin. Again, the center of the storm, if you look at that map, at 22,468.9, so 22,468.9, somewhere around here, this blob, you could see two balls of convection right there, two bulbous blobs, and the center is on the left side. So it's still dealing with wind shear and unfavorable conditions. That is indicative of an El Nino. We are definitely in an El Nino. It's just these waters are so warm, we're getting a lot of named storms, but they're struggling. Very heavy rain within these cold cloud tops. Thankfully, it's not sitting over Hispaniola, or else the flood threat would be tremendous. But as it eventually pools to the north, the shear should relax. Franklin looks like it wants to strengthen, so we should see Franklin become a hurricane, and then a stronger hurricane as it eventually moves on out. But again, Bermuda and the Canadian Maritimes up here, keep an eye on Tropical Storm Franklin. The rest of the Atlantic, we have what's left of Emily up here, and again, by the weekend it should merge with a front, and it's not going to do anything. However, there is still a chance that as it moves northward, it could redevelop, and if so, it would retain the name Emily. Our second system is that wave we've been watching. That's a moderate chance. It could form into a tropical depression or a storm as it moves generally out to sea following the path of Emily, but it could take a name. And then this is the new area here we're watching, already a moderate risk in the area there of the Northwest Caribbean Sea. A broad area of low pressure is over Central America, and it is forecast to move into the Northwest Caribbean by the weekend, and a tropical depression could form as it moves slowly northward, entering the eastern Gulf of Mexico. So through the next 2 days, it's only a 10% chance for development, but over the next week, 60%. Now, the next two names on the list are the I-name storm, Idalia, which was the replacement name from Hurricane Irma back in 2017, and Jose. So it might be a race for names between which one develops, whether it becomes the I storm or the J storm. I gotta tell you, we've had, since 2001, with Hurricane Iris, 2002, Hurricane Isidore, 2003, Isabel, 2004, Ivan, 2008, Ike, 2010, Igor, 2011, Irene, 2013, Ingrid, 2017 with Irma, 2021 with Ida, 2022 last year with Ian. We have had a dozen I-name storms taking up the I name just because of the time of year we get our notable hurricane. a lot of times we're on the ice storm. So if this is going to be a hurricane landfall in Florida, I kind of hope this system in the Atlantic steals the I name. I do not want another I name storm, but whatever happens, happens. Here's the European ensembles. Watch how this system, all of them, take it into Florida sometime around, when is that, August 30th, August 31st? So around midweek, we could have a landfall of a tropical cyclone, maybe even a hurricane, somewhere if you're between New Orleans and Key West. Watch it very, very carefully, in particular along the Florida West Coast. I know everybody there is storm wary, especially after dealing with a disastrous Category 4 impact on Sanibel Island last year. However, if you look at the other models, the GFS ensembles, they're not that enthusiastic. But the Hurricane Center is, and I can't blame them because the GFS sometimes is very slow on the uptick. Remember last year it had Hurricane Ian go into the Panhandle, weakening as a Category 1, and the European showed it over Marco and Sanibel and Southwest Florida as a disastrous monster. And the European was right, it was a disastrous monster over Southwest Florida. Here's the water vapor imagery, and you can't see it much, it's still over Central America, but this is going to be the area to watch. There's an upper level low right here, and that's kind of shearing this area. But as this retrogrades to the west, we're going to have our system pull onto the north and then eventually the northeast. So if you are in that area of the Southeast Gulf and the Northwest Caribbean, watch the tropics very, very carefully. And there's Franklin on the right side of your screen. So that's going to do it right now for the tropics. Again, note the turning here. See this? I see the low pressure right here where I just drew that circle over Central America. I see the turning. So this is going to be pulling up over water, the upper level low retrograding west, and then we're going to have a trough pull down, and we'll have some movement towards the northeast. So if you're in Florida and the Gulf, watch the tropics the next few days. I'll be back with more. I'm Mike Naso, and I'll talk to you guys next time.